Sarah Mitchell sat in the sterile waiting room, her hands fidgeting with the hem of her pink skirt. The pale green walls seemed to close in around her as she watched the minute hand on the clock crawl forward. She had been putting off this appointment for months, maybe even a year. The problem wasn't going away, but talking about it felt impossible. The condition was embarrassing. So embarrassing that she could barely whisper the words to herself, let alone explain them to a stranger. Even thinking about it now made her cheeks burn with shame. She had researched it endlessly online, hoping to find some miracle cure that would make this visit unnecessary. But here she was, finally facing the inevitable. Sarah Mitchell called a nurse from the doorway. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. She stood on unsteady legs, smoothing down her white top with trembling hands. The walk down the hallway felt like a march to her doom. Each step echoed in her ears, mixing with the thundering of her pulse. The nurse led her to a small examination room painted in soothing blues and whites. A single window let in soft afternoon light, casting gentle shadows across the medical equipment. Sarah perched on the edge of the examination table, the paper crinkling beneath her. The nurse took her basic information and vital signs, her voice kind but professional. Dr. Williams will be with you shortly, she said before leaving Sarah alone with her racing thoughts. Sarah stared at her hands, rehearsing what she might say. How do you begin a conversation like this? How do you explain something so personal to a complete stranger? She had imagined Dr. Williams as an older woman, someone motherly who had seen everything and wouldn't judge, someone who would understand. A gentle knock interrupted her spiral of anxiety. "Come in," she managed to say. The door opened, and Sarah's carefully prepared words evaporated instantly. Standing in the doorway was not the gray-haired matronly figure she had imagined. Instead, a young man stepped into the room, probably close to her own age. He wore a white coat over a blue shirt, with a stethoscope draped around his neck. His dark hair was neatly combed, and his eyes held a warmth that seemed genuine. "Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Williams," he said, extending his hand with a gentle smile. "It's nice to meet you, Sarah." Sarah shook his hand, her mind reeling. This changed everything. How could she possibly discuss her condition with someone who looked like he had just graduated from medical school? Someone who was young and attractive and male. "Please, have a seat," Dr. Williams said, settling into the chair across from her. He opened her file and glanced at it briefly. "I see this is your first visit with us. What brings you in today?" Sarah's mouth went dry. The words she had so carefully practiced now seemed impossible to speak. She looked down at her hands, then back up at his expectant face. He waited patiently, his expression encouraging but not pushy. Single quotes, double quotes, she started, then stopped. Heat crept up her neck. "This is really difficult for me." Dr. Williams leaned forward slightly, his voice gentle. "Take your time. I know it can be hard to talk about personal health issues, especially when you're meeting someone new. There's no rush." Something in his tone made Sarah look up. His eyes held no judgment, only professional concern mixed with genuine kindness. She took a deep breath. "I've been having problems," she began slowly, "for months now. It's embarrassing, and I keep thinking it will just go away on its own, but it hasn't." Many patients feel that way, Dr. Williams said softly, "but I'm glad you're here now. Whatever it is, I've probably seen it before, and there's nothing you could tell me that would shock or embarrass me." Sarah studied his face, searching for any sign of impatience or discomfort. She found none. Slowly, haltingly, she began to explain her symptoms. The words came easier as she spoke, encouraged by his attentive listening and occasional gentle questions. As she finished describing her condition, Sarah felt both relief and renewed embarrassment. She had said it all out loud to this young doctor who sat across from her with nothing but professional concern on his face. "Thank you for sharing that with me," Dr. Williams said. "I know it took courage to come in today. The good news is that what you're describing is actually quite common, especially in women your age. It's nothing to be ashamed of." Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. "Really, it's not weird." Not at all, he assured her. "In fact, I'd say about 30% of my patients have dealt with similar issues. It's just not something people talk about openly, which makes everyone feel like they're alone with it." Dr. Williams explained her condition in simple terms, using language that made it feel less frightening and more manageable. He outlined several treatment options, from lifestyle changes to medication. Each one presented with patience and care. "But why didn't I know this was so common?" Sarah asked, feeling a mixture of relief and frustration. "Because people don't usually discuss these things at dinner parties," Dr. Williams said with a small smile. "Medical education is improving, but there's still a lot we don't teach people about normal body functions. You're not the first person to suffer in silence with something completely treatable." As he spoke, Sarah began to see past his youth, to the knowledge and compassion he possessed. His age didn't matter, his expertise and kindness did. She realized she had been so focused on her own embarrassment that she had almost missed the gift of having a doctor who truly listened. I was so nervous about coming here, she admitted. I thought my doctor would be an older woman. When you walked in, I almost ran out. Dr. Williams chuckled softly. I get that reaction sometimes, but I hope you'll find that good medical care isn't about age or gender. It's about listening, understanding, and working together to help you feel better. Sarah nodded, feeling foolish for her earlier assumptions. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have judged you based on how you look. No need to apologize, he said warmly. It's natural to have expectations. The important thing is that you're here now, and we can work on getting you the help you need. They spent the next few minutes discussing treatment options and follow-up care. Sarah found herself asking questions she had been too embarrassed to voice before, and Dr. Williams answered each one with patience and respect. As the appointment drew to a close, Sarah realized something had shifted. The shame she had carried for months was beginning to lift, replaced by hope and a sense of being understood. She had learned that her condition was treatable, common, and nothing to be ashamed of. Thank you, she said as she stood to leave, for listening, and for making this so much easier than I thought it would be. Dr. Williams smiled. That's what I'm here for. Remember, good healthcare is a partnership. Don't ever hesitate to ask questions or voice concerns, no matter how embarrassing they might seem. Walking out of the office, Sarah felt lighter than she had in months. She had learned that healing sometimes comes from the most unexpected places, and that courage isn't about not feeling afraid. It's about moving forward despite the fear. Sometimes the very thing we dread most turns out to be exactly what we need.